Good evening. Unemployment is at its highest for a generation, and the latest figures show that the Yorkshire and Humber region has been hit harder than anywhere else in the country. The government has blamed a large rise in unemployment here on the economic crisis sweeping the Eurozone. Of the 129,000 people added to the national jobless total between July and September, 50,000 were in the Yorkshire and the Humber. 1 in 10 of the adult population in the area is now without work. The number of people claiming job seekers allowance in Hull is more than twice the national average. In Grimsby, it's 50% above the national average. The Employment Minister told BBC Look North that the government was doing everything possible to create new jobs.
The disappointment in Yorkshire and the Humber and in Hull and Grimsby and other towns like them across the region is that a few months ago we were seeing genuine improvements in the labour market and improvements in private sector employment. As a result of the crisis in the Eurozone, we've seen a drop in business confidence and the labour market turn in the wrong direction. We really need to focus on getting the economy in the region growing again. That's why so much of the money targeted through the Regional Growth Fund is coming to Yorkshire and the Humber, designed to create jobs in areas like manufacturing, research and development.
Well, it comes on the day that almost 900 workers facing redundancy in East Yorkshire were visited by the Shadow Defence Secretary. Labour's Jim Murphy was at the BAE Systems in Brough to meet the affected workers. The cuts were announced in September when BAE said it would no longer be manufacturing the Hawk jet in East Yorkshire. Phil Connell has this report.
Hiya, good to meet you. Hiya, hello.
As the Shadow Defence Secretary Jim Murphy arrived at the British Aerospace factory with words of support this morning for the 899 workers set to lose their jobs, many whose photographs and stories have been listed in a book.
He's been here 33 years.
33 years, yeah.
I mean, he must have started here straight out of school.
And it's here in Brough where for more than 30 years the Hawk jet has been built, production which Jim Murphy believes is being stopped for no good reason.
The government's got to look and see what it can do about changing some of its orders round, changing its approach to defence investment and spending, and the company has to look again at its plans. It's the workforce that made our country proud.
The end of manufacturing at the Brough site was announced at the end of September, a decision which managers have blamed on falling orders. Since then, protesters have raised concerns, which a week on Thursday has now sparked a parliamentary debate. While in December, workers intend to lobby Parliament and hand their Book of Faces petition into Downing Street.
We're hoping to get the wives, the partners, the girlfriends, some of the children to hand the 3 books. We're on to our 3rd book now. It sums it up for me. It's a family photo. It tells you the guy's got 29 years service on this site. Some of them have got a lot more than that.
The Shadow Defence Secretary also met the team who in October cycled to both Labour and the Conservative Party conferences. They left today's meeting with renewed energy to keep on fighting.
Some people just think that's it, it's the end, I'm doomed and my job's no more. But other people are thinking, no, let's do something about this. We can make a difference and we carry on fighting as long as we can.
It's hard to say how much influence today's visit by the Shadow Defence Secretary will have. Some see it as nothing more than a gesture. For a desperate workforce, though, it seems all support here is welcome. Phil Connell, BBC Look North, Brough.
Phil, thank you. Well, I spoke with Jim Murphy after his visit to Brough and I asked him what the workers there had said to him.
They're really pretty proud of all they've done over the years. They've changed, as times have changed, they've changed their shift patterns, they've modernised their working practices. They're really pretty proud of what they've done, and they're really annoyed that after the redundancies in the summer that there's a new round of redundancies of nearly 900 people. But while they're annoyed, they're also pretty determined. They're not going to go down without a fight, and they're determined to take their case to Parliament and across the country. Is
your visit today a bit of a PR stunt, a bit of a gimmick? Because you are in opposition. There's nothing you can do, is there? Well,
the unions asked and the management asked to meet me when I was here. I was pleased to do that, but now, much more importantly, we've now got to take that case to the country. There's a big debate in Parliament next Thursday in the House of Commons where Brough's case will be made really very strongly.
You don't think this story is over, do you? You think there's more to come. What can be done to reverse the decision?
I think there's a long way to run in this story. Once the announcement was made, I think some people said, well, that's it all up. And I think there's no space for belligerence here from the company. We cannot have a consultation that ends at the same point that it started, with the same announcement. Otherwise the entire thing is a sham. So the unions are making a really strong case, the workforce are making a strong case. That will come to Parliament, and the company, I think, should change its mind.
This visit comes as it's announced that unemployment in this part of the world is 1 in 10. The Tories, of course, say this is a legacy of when you were in power. What would you do to get people back into work? As we know, we've got horrendous problems around here.
Well, it's a really bad day for the whole country. We're the first time in history of over 1 million young people out of work. And sadly in Hull, particularly North Hull, the problem is really acute, possibly the worst in all of England. What we would do is reintroduce a scheme called the Future Jobs Fund, which would give young people the chance, subsidised work, to get back into work, to get the skills, to get the confidence, to earn a living, to earn a wage, to pay some taxes. Surely that's a better thing to do than having 1 million young people on the dole, not paying taxes, taking benefit. There has to be a more sensible way of doing it, and the government should use today and the dreadful news as an opportunity to think again.
People who work at Brough, of course, don't care who is in power as long as their jobs are safe. Realistically, could that happen?
I think there is a chance, absolutely, that many of the jobs at Brough could be saved. And it isn't about the party politics of it. Of course the company has to change its mind, but the government does have to become involved. The government can't just watch it on the TV screens or read about it in the newspapers. They stop being spectators, get involved, do whatever is necessary. No option should be taken off the table in terms of helping the people at Brough, and that involves the government being much more active than they are at the moment.
Mr. Murphy, good to see you. Thank you.